Have you ever wondered if you've lived before or will live again? Are you curious about what happens after you die? Maybe you have met someone you're sure you've known before, or maybe you're wondering if you have talents, skills, or experiences from a prior life that could help you now. Hi, I'm Brownell Landrum, author of The End, A Love Story to the Universe, and the We Meet Again trilogy, and I'd like to welcome you to the Life is a Trip podcast. Following story, Goodnight Sweet Prince, was written by screenwriter, comedian, drama geek Tony Binns. Tony says he was inspired to write the story after a dream that he had, where he was in a theater watching Richard Harris play King Lear, and then thought, wait a minute, wasn't he dead? Enjoy the story.
The Guardian, May 17th, 2023. Danes and Dolls headline Bard and Swan Theatre's new season. Big stars and big swings and a last chance season announcement for struggling theatre company.
This will be a season to remember, Bard and Swan artistic director St. John Gladwell exclaimed from the podium Friday morning, and it would certainly have to be following a disastrous season he'd like to forget. Taking the mantle of artistic director last year, Mr. Gladwell promised exciting new directions on the beloved classics and to breathe new life into Shakespeare. What resulted were a number of missteps and box office disasters that have nearly brought the venerated company to ruin. After failing to get the rights to stage Hamilton, Mr. Gladwell took matters into his own hands and adapted Macbeth into an unfortunate rap musical called Mac Daddy. The results were as problematic and borderline racist as you might imagine, with numbers like "Got 99 Problems and a Witch Ain't One," "Nothing But a G-Thane," and "Straight Out of Cawdor." Protest and eventually legal action from the hip-hop community followed, and the production was shut down immediately. This was followed by a production of As You Like It that garnered very poor notices, with one reviewer giving it a very succinct 6-word review, simply stating, "As you like it, I didn't." Then came the bizarre attempt to combine classical theatre with traditional English panto with Oedipus in Boots. It strained credulity and good taste as Oedipus called to the audience, "That's not my mother," only to have the chorus of oblivious children repeat, "Oh, yes it is." Lastly, there was the all-female Richard III, which was a serviceable enough production, but the posters boldly proclaiming "All Richard, no Dicks" managed to land the company in hot water once again. So it was, with his job and indeed his entire company on the line, that Mr. Gladwell appeared, happy and smiling, to announce his new season and a special surprise. Hamlet, Guys and Dolls, Julius Caesar, and an outdoor Midsummer Night's Dream in Sebastian Park are on offer this year. Hamlet will kick off the season in September. We were assured it would be a very traditional production with a very special guest star. Mr. Gladwell was all smiles as he revealed his ace in the hole. "It is my privilege to introduce to you our Hamlet, Mr. Anthony Sim." Well, even the jaded press corps drew a breath as Mr. Sim shyly took to the podium to answer questions. The 26-year-old actor came to prominence when he was cast by Marvel to play the popular hero Vague, a mutant whose primary ability is to be superhumanly nondescript. Needless to say, this does not bode well for a dynamic Hamlet, but Sim seemed thrilled to finally be taking a swing at the Dane. It's a very demanding part, emotionally and physically, but when you get the offer to play it, it's like you've made the Olympic team. It's as much a vote of confidence as anything else, Sim said, looking tanned and relaxed, sipping a Perrier. When asked if his busy Hollywood schedule would cause problems, he assured the assembled press there that nothing on heaven and earth would stop me playing that part.
St. John Gladwell's Diary, August 28th, 2023. Anthony Sim can, and please understand I do not say this lightly, all the way off while sucking a particularly unctuous fart from a dead cow. Here is just a partial list of what I've been putting up with this week. 1. Demanded that there be no eye contact with him during rehearsals. Patricia accidentally made eye contact once, and he immediately demanded she be fired and replaced with his deeply vapid Instagram model girlfriend, Talanya. Talanya, for the record, is 19. Also, for the record, Patricia is playing Hamlet's mother, Queen Gertrude. 2. Constant insistence that we should change the ending, so Hamlet lives and gets his revenge in a 10-minute gun battle, because that's what modern audiences want, apparently. I informed him that a John Wick-style Hamlet was not what we were going for, and assured him that when Keanu Reeves played the part on stage, not a single shot was fired. Well, not by a gun, at any rate. There were plenty of shots fired in the press, but that's neither here nor there. 3. Habitually starts every other phrase in the to be or not to be speech with interjections like yo, as in, to be or not to be, yo, that is the question. When I told him he was screwing up the meter, he told me he thought iambic pentameter was the name of an a cappella group. We open in 2 weeks. The only thing that will prevent this from being a complete and total disaster is if somehow Sim wraps his ludicrously tacky Porsche around a pole. Fingers crossed. The Guardian, September 7th, 2023. Hollywood actor Anthony Sim dies in fatal car crash. Hollywood is left mourning after promising young actor Anthony Sim was involved in a fatal car crash driving on the wrong side of the road. 3 other people are also dead, it should be mentioned, but let's focus on the important thing. St. John Gladwell's Diary, September 12th, 2023. Well, shit. I'd say be careful what you wish for, but I've wished for a holiday home in the French Riviera with Colin Firth daily to no avail whatsoever. F*** me. I suppose this is it. I shall have to close up shop. In the face of such a tremendous loss of revenue, what else can we do? I suppose I'll gather the cast tomorrow night. We'll all mumble some platitudes, have a drink, and go gently and somewhat drunkenly into that good night. God, I'd send a note of condolence to Telanya, but the only way she'd understand it is if it was in meme form. Skibbity Ohio, sorry about your dead boyfriend. Ugh, Christ on a Parmesan cracker, I need a drink. St. John Gladwell's Diary, September 15th, 2023. There has been a development. Last night, as we were in the theatre, toasting the memory of a man for whom subtext meant graffiti and a tube station, something rather extraordinary happened. I was wrapping things up, as one often does, by telling a blatant lie. I had raised my glass and said something to the effect of, "And I'd give anything to have him back with us." And wouldn't you know it, the bastard showed up. In full costume, reciting the lines from Hamlet. To say we were surprised is an understatement, particularly since he was completely off book, a feat which he never quite managed in life. When the panic, sobbing, and overly dramatic fainting was done with, confession, all 3 of those were me, we all stood and just watched him. A ghost, playing Hamlet, from beyond the grave. I mean, not well, but still. He did the whole play, complete with pauses for the other actors to speak, took an overly long curtain call, then faded from the stage. There was complete silence for a full 5 minutes before I heard one single solitary sound. It was the sound of a cash register. I swore the cast to secrecy and told them to meet again tomorrow night and be prepared to do a run-through should it happen again. And it did. So we did a run-through, and do you know what? It wasn't half bad. It wasn't half good either, but can you imagine the publicity? Hamlet with a real ghost. It'll run forever as long as it keeps haunting the place. This is it. This is actually it. We're going to make a small fortune. St. John Gladwell's Diary, September 23rd, 2023. Complications. For the first time in over a week, no ghost showed up. Instead of the restless spirit of the undead, something far more terrifying appeared. His agent. Maxwell had gotten wind of what we were doing and demanded that he still get his percentage of Anthony's fee. I, of course, told him to go f*** himself with a frozen auger while hiking barefoot on a mountain of burning Lego. He stormed out, assuring me that he'd had a séance and his client would not appear until his demands were met. True to his word, no ghost, no Hamlet, no chance at a West End run. You would think that a significant event like dying in a car crash would stop Sim from being a complete and utter bell end, but you'd be very wrong, it seems. I don't know if you've ever experienced the sublime humiliation of a salary negotiation via Ouija board, but I do not recommend it. Particularly when the restless spirit in question finds spelling wet fart over and over again ceaselessly hilarious. Final stretch. 5 days. We're sold out for the entire run. All of this will have been worth it when the press convenes to witness not only Shakespeare's greatest work, but definitive proof of life after death. The reviews are going to be sensational! The Guardian, September 28th, 2023. Goodnight, Sweet Prince, and good luck. Late actor's Hamlet misses opportunities. Guardian review, 2 stars.
While production of Hamlet in the West End is hardly anything new, there is something remarkable going on at the Milken this month. As we already reported, bright young star Anthony Sim was tragically killed in a car crash on the way to his final preview performance. As the cast gathered for a memorial on stage, the late actor appeared in costume. Then Mr. Sim proceeded to perform the entire play to an understandably dumbstruck cast, before disappearing after his curtain call. The producers saw a possible way to salvage their investment and ordered the cast to be ready the following night in the event it happened again, which it did. However, based on what I saw last night, I can't help but wonder if it should have. While there can be absolutely no doubt about Mr. Sim's dedication to his craft, his Hamlet is too measured by far. One hesitates to describe Sim as lifeless under the circumstances, but a performance from beyond the grave ought to take a few more risks. After all, what is there to lose? A Hamlet from an actor for whom the rest is quite literally silence is an intriguing prospect, to say the least. I'm sorry to say it, but John Coolidge, as Hamlet's late father, was the more convincing of the two ghosts on stage last night. Mr. Sim's delivery of Shakespeare's immortal words were serviceable, but given this new context, repeatedly problematic. One does not presume to know Shakespeare's intent at all times, of course, but last time I checked, the famous "Oh, that this too solid flesh" speech should not elicit laughter from the audience. There was also an unfortunate incident during the "to be or not to be" speech, when a young wag of the audience shouted, "Too late, mate!" The heckler received an applause break. Mr. Sim did not. The rest of the cast was quite serviceable, with Patricia Webber's nuanced Gertrude being a standout. Ms. Webber looked genuinely terrified of her own son throughout the performance. And Heather McCullough's Ophelia showed great promise. But I'm sad to report that this is a resurrection of ego, rather than a resurrection of Shakespeare's classic. Mr. Sim's agent has just announced that Anthony's next appearance will be in Blithe Spirit at Drury Lane. I sincerely hope Noel Coward comes back to put an end to it first.
St. John Gladwell's Diary, November 15th, 2023. Good news! I've been picked to direct Blithe Spirit at Drury Lane. I wonder who's going to play the lead.
Thank you for listening to Goodnight Sweet Prince by Tony Binns. If you want to see more of Tony's work, his teen rom-com film, Roxy, is available to stream on Amazon Prime, or can be downloaded via Apple or YouTube. His play, Waiting for Godot, will have a workshop public premiere on Bowen Island in British Columbia this January. You could follow him on Facebook or just drop him a line. He doesn't get out much and would appreciate the basic human contact. For more of these transcendental tales and metaphysical mysteries, please join the Life is a Trip group on Facebook and check out Brownell's story entitled The End, A Love Story to the Universe, and her We Meet Again trilogy, an epic reincarnation mystery about a famous couple reunited to fulfill a prophecy that will change the world.